You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Appreciate everybody for being here. We got to talk about what Joe Schoen was talking about today on the Kay Adams Show. He spoke about Gabe Davis and what his plans are for the Giants and Davis, and he also spoke about Kayvon Thibodeaux and his role on the defense this year. Excited to talk about Kayvon, but I want to start today's show talking about Gabe Davis, as the Giants did host the veteran wide receiver on a free agency visit earlier this week. There's obviously ties with Schoen and Davis and Daboll due to their days together in Buffalo, and Joe Schoen kind of gave us a peek behind the curtains of how that visit went and if a signing could be coming. Schoen told Kay Adams this when she asked him, is a signing going to happen? He said, yeah, it was reported that Gabe came in yesterday, and obviously I have history with him, having been in Buffalo when we drafted him, and Dabes was there. And then Chad Hall was his receiver coach in Buffalo and in Jacksonville, and we brought him in. He's our assistant quarterback coach now. So Gabe Davis, he's coming off an injury, He's cut by Jacksonville, so he came up for a visit. He hadn't been in New York or seen the facility or staff, so just a little get-to-know-you type of meeting yesterday. We went out to dinner, and then, we'll see if anything transpires here down the road. Kay Adams then asked him, could he be signing? He said, there will be no announcement today. And look, I think that this lets you know that the Giants are serious about Davis joining this football team. A free agency visit, here to meet the staff, here to go through the building, and they took him out to dinner as well. Has connections to Chad Hall, has connections to Brian Daboll, and also has connections to Joe Schoen. And he's a deep threat wide receiver, and Russell Wilson graded out as the best deep ball thrower in the National Football League. And Davis, who was trying to rehab his value across the NFL after having knee surgery back in Week 11 of last year, he's got an opportunity to sign with the Giants and be a guy that I think sees a lot of snaps and could have a lot of production. Obviously, Malik Neighbors is the headliner of this Giants receiving depth chart, and Wan'Dale Robinson's going to walk in and be that starting slot receiver. Darius Slayton is the best deep threat they got outside of Neighbors, and Jalin Hyatt is there as well, but Gabe Davis would be a big impact player for this team. I don't want people to think that I'm trying to say Gabe Davis is going to change life for the New York Giants, but it gives them another guy that's had a lot of success in this league, and I think the Giants are kind of lacking at the wide receiver position. We saw last year that it was kind of just Neighbors or bust. And maybe with a new quarterback, Slayton's able to get back to being a 700-yard receiving guy. Maybe Wan'Dale Robinson will be able to live up to the hype of being a second-round pick. But, the Giants don't really have the time to wait for Jalin Hyatt. And the reason I say that is because the last couple of videos we've talked about Davis, there's been a handful, not a handful, there's been a long list of comments saying, Marshall, we got Jalin Hyatt. He's a deep threat. We got to let Jalin Hyatt play. We got to develop Jalin Hyatt. Jalin Hyatt should not stop the Giants from doing anything when it comes to adding players to this football team. Brian Daboll doesn't have time for Jalin Hyatt to develop. He already didn't do it in the first 2 years, and more often than not, when you're not an impact player in the first 2 years, you're probably not going to be one in your NFL career. And Joe Schoen, same shoes as Daboll, they don't have time to wait. Look, if you get something out of Hyatt at this point, awesome. And I think there is a world where he can be a weapon in an explosive offense. But at the end of the day, it just kind of is what it is. Dude had 8 receptions last year in 16 games played. Stop telling me the Giants can't go out and sign Gabe Davis, a guy that his last 2 years in Buffalo went for over 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns, and we can't give that guy snaps because we're supposed to prioritize the development of Jalin Hyatt, who had 8 catches last year. Gabe Davis is someone that has 22 touchdowns in the last 4 years. And we want to not sign him because we want to develop a player that had 8 catches last year. If Jalin Hyatt can be half the player that Gabe Davis was with Buffalo, that would be awesome for this football team. And I'm not trying to come up here and roast Jalin Hyatt. I'm just trying to paint the picture for you guys to see it's not even close. Davis is better. And the Giants, a 3-win team last year with a head coach and GM on the hot seat, they can't sit on their hands hoping that Jalin Hyatt becomes the player they thought that he was coming out of the SEC. Davis is so much better. And he's already done things that Hyatt is wishing he could do in the National Football League. 12 career games of more than 80-plus receiving yards. 29 career receiving touchdowns. 17 games of 20-plus yards per catch. And he's a solid contested catch guy, a career contested catch percentage of 39.7. To put that into perspective, what's his name? The receiver for the Bengals, Jamar Chase. I don't know how I blanked on that. Jamar Chase, 41% last year. So, not saying he's Jamar Chase, just letting you guys see the data for yourself. And also, he's just one of the best in the league at catching the ball down the field. His PFF grades on throws of more than 20-plus yards. 98.8. It's on a scale of 1 to 100. 98, 98, 97, 99, then 74.3 this past year, playing alongside Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence before he hurt his knee, and he was playing through injury. Mitch Morse, the center that played with him in Jacksonville and the Buffalo Bills, has talked about how great of a person, locker room teammate, and competitor he is. John Feliciano, former Giant, former Bill, he's pushing for the 49ers to go out and sign him. Seems like everybody that's ever been on a team with Gabe Davis has enjoyed their time. And he's also had a lot of success in the playoffs. I really think this is a no-brainer move for the New York Giants if the knee is right. I think that is what is going to be the deciding factor for Davis and the New York Giants. If his knee is right, if the meniscus looks good after undergoing surgery back in Week 11, and he's ready to roll and he can contribute early on in this season, I think they're just going to go out and sign him. I don't really think that they shouldn't. And I've kind of realized, and maybe I'm a little high on him, and by high on him, I mean I think he could be a productive wide receiver 4 for the New York Giants. I don't really think people know who Gabe Davis is. I saw people on Giants Twitter comparing him to a guy like Isaiah Hodgins, a slot receiver. He can play in the slot, but this guy's a deep threat, and people also want to say he can't catch the football. And I'm not saying he has the best hands in the world, but we have a player on our team that for the past 7 years has been a drop guy. Darius Slayton, his 2024 drop percentage was 15.2. Gabe Davis has never had a drop percentage over 11.4. That is a major difference. 5 drops, 4 drops, 7 drops, 4 drops, 2 drops. And when you're a deep threat, it's harder to catch the football when you're further away from the line of scrimmage. Again, do I think he's Jamar Chase? No. Do I think he's going to change life for the Giants offense? No. Do I think he could make an impact and he's better than what the Giants have? And do I want to see an offensive formation where Davis and Slayton are on the outside and Malik Neighbors in the slot able to do whatever he does? Yeah. Because then you got to play too high. And if you're playing too high, you can't double Malik Neighbors in the slot. And if you don't play too high and you're playing one-on-one on the outside with Davis or Slayton, they're just going to run right by you. So, yeah, I would go out and sign him if the knee was right. I also don't think it's going to cost a lot of money. He got $24 million for guaranteed from Jacksonville, and he played 11 games. So they got over $2 million per game played. Maybe he wants to secure the bag. I think there's a bag waiting for him. I think a 1-year, $3-4 million deal should get it done, and yeah, I would sign that today. I'm not going to ask you if the Giants should sign Davis or not because at this point I don't see why the answer would be no. My question to you is grade the current Giants wide receiver room. A, B, C, D, or F. As it stands right now, grade the Giants room. And then I want you to think to yourself, what happens if Malik Neighbors sprains an ankle and he misses 3 games? Think about that grade as well. Coming up next, Joe Schoen, he spoke about Kayvon Thibodeaux when Kay Adams asked what his role is going to be on this football team. I thought it was a pretty interesting answer. Well, I got to tell you about a brand new sponsor on today's show, and that is the Hall of Fame app. We are giving our listeners a 7-day free trial plus 50% off your first month when you use our promo code CHAT. I'll make sure all that information is clickable down in the comments and description. Have you ever been one leg away from hitting a massive parlay, but it got ruined by an unlucky buzzer beater, maybe an unexpected strikeout, or even a blocked field goal? We've all been there. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of throwing away money at parlays that I have a good feeling about. That's where the HOF app has completely changed the game. The HOF app was founded by huge sports fans who just happen to be giant data nerds, and they graduated from Ivy League schools. The Hall of Fame app is going to give you a leg up on Vegas by using historical data, matchup grades, leg correlation tools, and player performance insights. I've won multiple parlays since I started using the app, including the under on Thunder Nuggets in Game 4. With a 4.9 rating in the App Store and over 6,000 five-star reviews, it's safe to say the HOF app has already helped a lot of people win smarter, including myself and the guys over here at Chat Sports. For a limited time, our listeners not only get a 7-day free trial, but they also get 50% off their first month when you use our code CHAT at checkout. So just download the HOF app on iOS or Android, enter code CHAT, and you're all set. Support the show, support the sponsor, be a real one. Alrighty, Joe Schoen's answer to Kay Adams and what she said, or asked him when said, how are you going to use Kayvon this year? Because you brought in Abdul Carter, you have Brian Burns, and you only play 2 edges normally. He said, yeah, all those guys. There's going to be ways that we can get them on the field together. Obviously, Abdul has some versatility. He played off the ball when he was at Penn State. So, we've dropped Kayvon before. We've dropped Burns before. There's just versatility amongst those groups. So, Shane Bowen, defense coordinator for the Giants, he's doing a good job of how he's trying and going to envision those guys on the field at times. There's sometimes you're going to be against mobile quarterbacks where, maybe some of those guys spy, or there's a lot of different scheme fits that we can use with these guys because they do have the versatility and they're all smart enough to learn multiple jobs. So, yeah, I'm excited about it, Shane Bowen is too. And, then they're going to be up in the lab upstairs and in the defensive meeting room looking at how they're going to use all of those guys. And that's extremely encouraging because I want to see all of those players on the field at the same time. You've given the chef the tools. He's got the food. He's got the nice Blackstone grill. He's got all the ingredients. He's got all the seasonings and the spices. Like, Shane Bowen, it's time to cook, man. It's time to step up. You've got one of the most top-heavy defenses in the National Football League. The New York Giants have made major investments at every single position group. Dexter Lawrence, one of the highest-paid defensive tackles. $150 million to Brian Burns. A number 5 overall pick on Kayvon Thibodeaux. A number 3 overall pick on Abdul Carter. You're paying Bobby Okereke priority money. You gave Paulson Adebo a lot of money. You gave Javon Holland a lot of money. You used a second-round pick on Tyler Newman. You used a first-round pick on Deonte Banks. Like, there is talent all over this defense. Figure it out, or figure out your next job, because you're going to be fired if this Giants defense isn't good. Just had to say that. Kayvon Thibodeaux, I'm expecting a big year for him. I understand it's easy to look at him in a way where he hasn't been all that productive, and even I have struggled with the thought process of Kayvon Thibodeaux not living up to that number 5 overall pick. But I was actually more encouraged and excited about his 2024 season compared to his 2023 season when he had 11 and a half sacks. I think it was a major difference in the way that he played, and in the advanced analytics, they kind of paint that picture as well. His PFF pass rush grade in his rookie year was 67.9, 53rd out of 203 edges. In 2023, it was 62.9, 93 out of 197 edges. And this year, a 72.0, 35th out of 211. So by far his best. And he also, I thought, was way better in run defense. He graded out his best his rookie year was 70.1, 40th out of 203 edges. But man, 2023, he was getting pushed around. 52.3 grade on the run defense, 148 out of 197 edges. This year, up to 65.6, 69th out of 211th. edges. Also, his pass rush production score was better in 2024 than it was in 2023 when he had 11 and a half sacks. He had the 27th best PRP ranking. Pass rush production score, putting pressures, quarterback hits, batted balls, everything a pass rusher does together, giving him a number, and he had the 27th best in 2024. So I'm excited about that. And at the end of the day, a pass rusher, you got to win one-on-one blocking situations. And he did that 2 times better than he did in 2023. He had a pass rush win rate of 6.4 in 2023. That is horrible. And somehow he still had 11.5 sacks, 14.2 in 2024. I'm excited about Kayvon Thibodeaux this year. I really am. And to go back to Shane Bowen, there's no excuse for this defense to not be elite. You got dogs all over this defense. There are defensive coordinators that would do disgusting things to have a defensive line of Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeaux, Abdul Carter, then an inside linebacker like Bobby Okereke, and a solid corner like Paulson Adebo, and a solid safety like Javon Holland, and then a young first-round pick at corner in Deontay Banks, a second-round pick at safety in Tyler Nubin. And Abdul Carter. Come on, Shane Bowen, it's time, my man. And you got Darius Alexander, who's going to make an impact in year 1. There is more than enough talent on this defense and I'm not trying to be hot takey here, I think they should be a top 5 defense in the NFL. I do. I think they have that type of talent. I need the Shane Bowen that we saw in the Cleveland Browns game. I get it. It's the Browns. They're a joke. But Shane Bowen identified that they cannot block our front. And the Giants picked up 7 sacks in that game. They were blitzing. They were pressuring. They were making life hell for Deshaun Watson. And I need Shane Bowen to go into every game this year with that mindset of if teams can't protect their quarterback, make them pay. If you can't block, if you've got a questionable tackle, you got a young guy on the offensive line, target him and attack him. And let Brian Burns go to work. Let Dexter Lawrence go to work. Let Abdul Carter get loose. Let Kayvon Thibodeaux continue to progress. Mix in Darius Alexander there and let him pin his ears back. There is more than enough talent for this defense to be good. They need to be fast, and they need to be aggressive. You didn't force turnovers last year. For some reason, you stopped blitzing and you stopped getting after the quarterback after week 7 or week 8 or whatever it was. Pin your ears back and make teams block you. Make teams keep extra people in. This pass rush was already good last year up until week 8. In fact, they totaled 35 sacks through the first 8 weeks of the NFL season. That was the most by any team since the 2017 Jaguars, who I think went to the AFC Championship game somehow with Blake Bortles. Since then, they've added Abdul Carter, Chauncey Golston, who we haven't even talked about, who I think is going to have a lot of fans on this channel by week 5, and Darius Alexander. This pass rush should be scary. But they got to do it. When game's on paper, you need a coach to put him in spots to be effective. You need coach to press the right buttons. You need coach to let them run loose. They're hungry dogs. Take them off the leash and let them go to work, my man. I'm excited about this defense. I think they should be elite. But there's a part of me that worries if Shane Bowen is the right guy for the job. We'll find out. Question to you to end today's show. Who leads the Giants in sacks in 2025? By the end of the season, who's going to have the most sacks? Carter, Burns, Thibodeaux, Dexter Lawrence, maybe someone else. Give me a name down in the comments section. Make sure you are following me on social media. I'm tweeting about the Giants all day. I'm posting on Instagram about the Giants as well. And it's another place that we can talk about Big Blue. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit that thumbs up icon. And we will see you guys later. Let's go Giants.